The Western point of view is that knowledge of God can be received through book learning. But one defect in this approach is that every study should have a practical as well as a theoretical side. You can acquire a mental concept from a story you read in a book, but its practical value in daily life remains to be seen. All too often, the intellect becomes satisfied with just a theory about God. Great and glorious is the story of God's presence, but greater and more glorious is the actual perception of the infinite. I speak only of what I have experienced, for personal experience is the practical aspect of religion. The mind, repository of infinite power. Extracts from lectures by Paramahansa Yogananda, October 12th, 1939. If you practice 1/1,000,000th of the things that I tell you in these Thursday night meetings, you will reach God. Success doesn't lie in listening to my sermons, but in practicing what I have told you. Today, you will learn how to develop the seeds of your innate, God-given faculties of the mind. Our little minds are part of God's omnipotent mind. The mind of God created the stars and all the worlds. Mind is the supreme factor that is working throughout creation, that is keeping the cells of our bodies together. And this wonderful consciousness in every particle of matter is all the work of that divine mind, the mind that needs no instrument to accomplish its object. Our little minds are part of the omnipotent mind of God. Beneath the wave of our consciousness is the infinite ocean of His consciousness. It is because the wave forgets it is part of the ocean that it becomes isolated from that oceanic power. As a result, our minds have become weakened by our trials and material limitations. The mind has stopped its work. You will be surprised how much it can do if you cast off the limitations you have put on it. The pure mind of the child, which is open and imaginative, free of prejudices and habits, is more attuned to the mind of God. But when the child grows up and experiences the trammels of material life, his mind takes on the limitations of that existence and becomes restricted in its scope. You become your worst enemy when you limit your mental power. To work with your mind is tremendously worthwhile. You haven't tried its powers at all. To break through mental limitations is what you should strive for. I have always done that because I wanted to be different. And when I met my guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, I realized how supernally different he was. Most people are copies of someone else, imitating what others do. They have no independent thinking. You should be a different individual, expressing the very best of your own unique nature. Why should you develop your mind power and use it for any attainment you desire? All around are storms of difficulties, and everyone is after his own. Nobody is thinking of you. And in this clash of individualities, You are a little mind about to be crushed and swept away. But if you reason this way, God loves me as He loved Jesus, Krishna, and Buddha. He cannot be partial. He has given me this mind, which contains the germ of infinite power. And I am going to cultivate this power. You will win. The seeds of success are within you. Success doesn't come from outside. It is in your brain. As soon as you think a right thought, work it. Some people have a good idea, but they haven't the tenacity to think it through and work it out. You must have courage and perseverance and think, I am going to see my idea through. It may be that I won't win out in this life, but I will make the effort. Think and act. Think and act. That is how to develop your mind power. Every idea is a little seed, but you have to grow it. Suppose you have determined that you are going to make $1,000. You continuously flow that thought through your brain, and you take certain actions, and you earn the $1,000. Essentially, it is the mind that did it. If there had been no thought in the mind that you wanted $1,000, you wouldn't have made it. Seeds look so small, yet in a tiny seed may be a huge tree, with towering trunk and heavy branches. But the potential alone doesn't make the tree. You have to put the seed in the ground, give it water, and look after it. Then, when the tree is full grown, you can say that the little seed has produced that mighty tree. So with success, it is a little seed thought, and you have to develop it. It won't grow without your help, just as seeds will not grow without your giving them care. All kinds of seeds of power are within you, waiting for you to develop them. Thought can be materialized. Truth is more real than mere thought or imagination. But whatever we think or imagine may sometime come to be true. Years ago, Jules Verne wrote several scientific adventure novels, which at the time were regarded merely as fiction. But since then, many of his concepts have become realities. Imagination is a very important factor in creative thought. But imagination has to be ripened into conviction. You can't do that without a strong will. But if you imagine something with all the power of your will, your imagination will be converted into conviction. And when you can hold that conviction against all odds, it will come true. Master Swami Sri Yukteswar used to say that if your will is strong, whatever you imagine will be created for you. It is a fact. You can develop that kind of imagination. You could conceive of a mansion floating in the ether, and if your imagination is strong enough, you might see it. And if your imagination becomes hardened into conviction, you might be able to materialize that building or be the cause of its creation through natural means. This is not a dream. It is possible. In Kashmir, and on several other occasions long before I came to America, I saw in vision this building that is now our Mount Washington International Headquarters. I found and chose this place myself without anyone else's guidance. It was built for this purpose because that thought was in the ether. Thought works. It is a marvelous force. Believe in the power of thought, which comes from God, and use all the strength of your heart, your will, to try to materialize that thought. Remember, God is with you. You are exercising His power, which you have borrowed from Him. And when you do that, He will be nearer to you to help you. Many things that I have thought have come into being. A long time ago, I was thinking of our need for a place where we could have a temple closer to Hollywood than is Mount Washington. I applied my will to that thought, and we got our second temple. I also wanted a temple by the Ganges in India. It is through the wish and the blessing of Lahiri Mahasaya and Babaji that I have been able to acquire a most beautiful place right on the banks of the Ganges at Dakshineswar, our Yogoda math. It is about 20 minutes from Calcutta and is a great asset to our work. I am very happy about it. Whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. You must believe that. When devotees go to the Tarakswar temple in India, famed for miraculous healings effected there, and think and strongly imagine that God will heal them, He does. Instantaneous cures are the results. When your prayers or wishes are not successful, it is because you have no will and you have no faith. If with a doubting mind you ask God to heal you, you won't be healed. Or if you merely ask, Lord, shall I have a hermitage by the Ganges? I know it is impossible, but I would like to have it. God says, you can't have it. But if you say, I am going to have it, I shall be just like a bulldog that won't let go. And then use your will to work toward that goal, you will succeed. To achieve something is to please God. Everyone here has some ideals. That is what I like about America. The American spirit is to try to create something new and better. In Washington, D.C., millions of patents have been registered. Your creative ability is wonderful to see. No one should live without creative effort. If you haven't exercised your willpower to accomplish something difficult in life, you haven't lived up to the standard of a child of God. You have insulted the image of God within. You must exercise your divine gift of creativity in some way. It is never too late. Do you know what old age is? It is when your mind becomes hard-boiled, accepting the limitations imposed by body consciousness and closing its doors to creative thinking. Some of them ready to step into the grave, telling me all the things they intend to accomplish and how much money they are going to make. It is better to try to achieve or to create something worthwhile. For to live idly is to do yourself the worst possible harm. What you don't realize is that in life, you cannot stand still. You go either backward or forward, and most of you go backward because your will is stationary, inert. So you must be watchful not to be physically or mentally lazy, not to imitate others rather than be creative. If you have not achieved anything in life, you may as well consider yourself dead, because like a zombie, you're moving toward the valley of death. But every time you make use of your willpower, God says, this person has done rightly. He has used his God-given willpower. Everything you do is recorded within yourself. The effect of each positive action is locked up in your brain. And that mental tabloid tendency becomes a powerful potential to bring about any achievement you are seeking. And to achieve something, whether mental or physical, is to be favored by God. How much better is it to use that power of mind than to let it ossify and become like a fossil? For millions of years it lies in the sunshine and doesn't change. A person with a mind like that is done for. He cannot make a success of life. So don't be a mental fossil. Be a living tree, constantly spreading out new growth. The strong-hearted soul says, there is sunshine in my life, and I have every chance to throw out shoots and branches of accomplishment. One day, I will be a success. The Lord of the universe shall come to bless and praise the fruits that I have created. So develop your mind. Be creative. Work on your progress with God. If you are not accomplishing anything in life, make a start. Watch your health, change your diet if necessary, give up bad eating habits. Change your thinking, give up negative, dark thoughts and be more positive, so that you can acquire something materially when you wish to. Above all, work on your progress with God. This is the most important of all creative thinking. If your will is being broken in spite of your spiritual resolve, do something about it. Everything will come to tempt you as soon as you want God. You are made to feel that in worldly diversions, you will find happiness. But that diversion takes you away from your spiritual pursuits and destroys your willpower. When I started on this path, never did I go to movies or seek other such distractions. I meant business with God. And now, after finding Him, whatever I do is like child's play. He has given me everything, but there is nothing more interesting to me than that constant communion within myself with the beloved of my universe. Complete surrender to God is the only goal in life I could conceive of. It is only through God and in God that I can see the perfection I had sought. And so it is to Him alone that I can give my complete allegiance. For everything else disillusions us. When you watch people with the eyes of wisdom, everyone falls short. Only God satisfies. He gave to me more than I ever expected in life. I had refused to think as others were thinking, to act as others were acting, to be like others. I knew there was something more to be sought in life. It is all right to have material things in their place, but I have no need or desire of my own for these things. For me, there's only one, the Lord. The joy of His being is always there. I want you to know that whenever I have told of personal experiences, it is not to extol myself, but to tell the joy of the accomplishment, to encourage you, that you might try also. It is because you think you are licked, but no matter how many times you are bowed by the bludgeons of circumstances, lift up your head again. Tell yourself, my body may be beaten, but my spirit is not conquered. That is the way to have success. Power of mind, the power of creation is necessary. Then you know the joy of accomplishment. Make the best of circumstances. 19 years have gone by since I came here to America. When I see what I have been able to achieve, I have no complaint. I have no regrets. But in every bit of it has been hard work. This spirit cannot be had by weaklings. It is possessed only by the valiant. So be powerful. Before disease and poverty strike you down, make the most of the opportunity you have now. I am always thinking of what I can create, not that I want to be noticed by the world, but to please God. Each one of you can be like that. You can do good in hundreds of thousands of ways. God doesn't expect you to do spectacular things, but He does want you not to be a lazy bones. He wants you to use all the power you have. Otherwise, as His child, you desecrate His name. Whatever your present circumstance, make the best of it. No matter how many times you fall down, get up with the determination to be victorious. Whatever I wanted to accomplish, I made up my mind it was going to be, and it was. Try it. You will see how much power you have. You will see this power work. You will have a lot of fun with it. We get what we merit in life. So if you want to be a success, you must create that success now. There are no limits to your mind. In every kind of work, whether religious or commercial, there are those who have done their utmost to bring a certain status to their lives. When such a person has worked his way up to become the head of a business or spiritual organization, he highly respects those under him who can help in attaining the goals of the organization. But those less successful tend to wonder why that person should hold such a big position, and why they couldn't have had it instead. They forget that he was creative and worked hard. Some may feel that he got the job through pull. But the truth is that a successful individual has created that vibration of success during this life or previous lives. Otherwise, he couldn't have attained his present position. Wherever there is money, the vultures of envy and greed will come. So no matter how unselfish you are, there will be those who will be jealous of your accomplishment. Some people want to live lazily on the efforts of others. Be honorable enough never to hang on anyone else. You are a child of God. You have all the power necessary to take yourself where you want to go. Various ways I have had to try in order to support this work of self-realization on my own initiative. Never beg. I have never done so. Don't think that somebody else should give you a lift. The pleasure is in making a success of your life, not in getting things easily. Never accept failure. You are living in a world of competition. Competition doesn't throttle you if you have determination. It makes you stronger. You have to do your best every day under all circumstances, and then you can be a success. But most people don't apply themselves, or they are always thinking that everything goes wrong for them, that they always have bad luck, Why shouldn't things go wrong? They don't give time to growing the seeds of success that are within their minds. They are too busy with useless things. Many of you think you don't even have any seeds of success in you, but you do have. You can succeed. You can make it. But if you think, I am done for, you are finished right then. You have already given yourself the decree that you have failed. But if you remain positive and think, all right, I will succeed, and go on trying, you will succeed. Don't brood over past failures. People who do always say that everything they touch ends in failure. Why do they fail? Because their minds have been convinced that they will fail. More than once, I have become completely penniless in trying to support this work. But I have always regained the necessary resources. It requires courage, because the mind will say, after all these years, you are right back where you started. But I say to the mind, keep quiet. I will make you work. We will see who is boss. You have to work. You have to make the effort to accomplish. Every failure gives you the privilege of learning something new. You see how to avoid those things that were wrong before. It is only when your mind becomes weak that your body becomes weak and you refuse to work. Then you are done for. You are dead. So never give up. This life is a great game. Make the effort to win it. Thousands of people in this world are suffering. Some have no hands or no feet to walk with. How can you, with all your faculties at your disposal, admit failure? You must not do so. When you go backward, your mental outlook is so dim that you think the whole world is going backward. But you will always advance if you are accomplishing something. Develop your mind. Let the whole world be at your command. Seek divine guidance. Schedule your life. Don't waste time. If you socialize with people all the time, you can't amount to anything. Be by yourself. Get away from people and dive deep within yourself. Ask, how am I going to succeed? Whatever you want to do, think about it until you are lost in that idea. Think, and make plans. Then take a little time. Don't jump into anything at once. Take a step and then think more. Something within tells you what to do. Do it and think some more. Some further guidance will come. By learning to go deep within, you will connect your consciousness with the superconsciousness of the soul, so that with infinite willpower, patience, and intuition, you can grow those idea seeds of success. While you try to create what you have in mind, always ask the Father to guide you. If your ego is blind and has a strong voice, it may drown out intuition and mislead you. But if you seek only to please God by your efforts to do something worthwhile, He will guide your footsteps from error to good. The right way to work towards success is to try to please God. Do your best, and then don't worry about it. In this world, you have to play your part in God's drama. But if you get lost in the drama, you will make a mess of your life. You will know too late that you have wasted your time. Why shouldn't you turn the wheel of life instead of being run over by it? You create your own helplessness or strength. Whatever you make up your mind to do, you must be able to carry out. So many people make themselves helpless by wrong habits. Get away from those persons who influence you to do evil. The helplessness you feel is caused by no one but yourself. Your weak mind is being pulled backward by the very cords that you have tied to bad habits. Most people are self-hypnotized by their environments and wrong habits, and by strong tendencies and moods brought with them from past lives. It is an insult to your mind and to the image of God within to allow yourself to be hypnotized by these limitations. You must break your bad habits and develop the power of mind by which you can command your own life. Begin to live rightly, exercise, eat wisely, and so on. Don't think you can get away with eating and living wrongly, even though you are not suffering now. All too soon, the devastating effects will catch up with you. I remember a student who weighed 200 pounds and looked rather homely and aged. She asked me if she could do anything about her health. "Of course you can," I said, "provided you have willpower." You have been thinking that you can't do anything with yourself. You have hypnotized your will to accept that thought. I told her to exercise by walking, to eat plenty of fruits, vegetables, and nuts, and to cut out all starchy foods and sweets. I reminded her that in the beginning her mind would urge her to take a little something sweet, and she would be tempted to give in. But you must make up your mind that you are going to lose weight, and then follow through. With willpower, I said. Several months later, I saw this woman again and asked, "Is this you?" "Yes," she answered. "It is so wonderful." She had lost her heaviness and looked so much younger and happier. Have you looked in your mental account book to find out whether your income of good experiences has been greater than the cost of your wrong actions? No. You would see that, for the most part, expensive bad habits have eaten up the profits of happiness. I used to introspect like that so that I could make my life the way I wanted it to be. Analyze your own life. In the morning, you get up and quickly say a short prayer. Then you eat and go to work. Next comes lunchtime, more work, and then dinner time and some useless diversion. And before long, you are off to bed. The same old thing every day. And every day your will is being broken by the dictates of your habits and environment. Why do you allow this? You excuse yourself and say, "Someday I will try to do those things I know I should do." But that day may never come. Why limit your capability to the adage? Don't bite off more than you can chew. I believe you should bite off more than you can chew and then chew it. Don't be useless. Make your life worthwhile. Material success becomes empty without God. Everything moves so fast in America. You're always busy doing something, and it is better to reap the harvest of the world than to be a lazy man. But you must also reap the richest harvest of life, God. The only way to attain true happiness is to accomplish something in this world and to achieve success with the Lord. Your most worthwhile activity is daily communion with God. The demands of the world are constantly breaking your willpower to seek Him. But no matter what the world gives you, your heart will still wish for God. You know that when you die, not all the power on earth can do anything for you? Who can help you then? God. And this is why you must always reason that this world is only a stopping place. Your home is with Him. After all you have done, this earth life becomes empty because you are going to have to leave everything eventually. One day you will have to part with all your material possessions. You envy the power and wealth of a Henry Ford, but he too will have to leave everything behind, except that great willpower and success consciousness which he has attained. He will be able to use those in another incarnation to find God more quickly when he begins his search divine. You may say that life is ebbing away, and you are going to die anyway, so why try for success? I would answer, as the Gita says, that at the moment of death, even 1 second before, if you can leave the body with the conviction that you are victorious in life, so shall it be. If you go with the conviction that you will be with the Lord, so it shall be. But if you go with the consciousness that you are done for, so shall it be. Whatever thoughts predominate as a result of the way you have lived your life, those thoughts determine your after-death state and the pattern of your next life. Can you remember that? There is no excuse to say that you are too old or otherwise unable to succeed materially and spiritually. Jesus demonstrated the ultimate in success. He did what 1,000,000 businessmen would not be able to do. Why? Because he had God. So let your greatest ambition be to find God, to be with God, to commune with Him, and to use your willpower to do the things in life that you ought to do for Him. If you see that you are not pleasing God, ask yourself how you can better please Him, how you can be nicer to everyone, how you can meditate deeper. Think and then act. This is the way to develop. Make God break his vow of silence. No matter what happens, if you are more and more with God, you will find that He is with you always. But will you make that effort? Every day in the beginning, my mind used to say, you can't know God. Only great ones like Krishna, Jesus, and Buddha could. Then I would reason, if God favored them, He is partial, but I know He is not. He does not favor anyone. Even they had to go through great trials, but they were divinely successful, so I too can realize God. Make the effort to find God by trying to conceive Him, that you want Him, and by trying to bend His will to speak to you. You have to make God break His vow of silence. Then He will speak. That is what makes it difficult to know Him. It requires devotional perseverance. How many years I secretly cried for God, but I know that I can never lose Him now, because He is not apart from me. He is ever with me. When the wave melts into the ocean and becomes one with it, the wave cannot feel lost from the ocean anymore. So are we. When we become one with Spirit, we cannot feel separated from God again. Above all, then, find time for God. No matter how tired you are at the end of the day, as soon as everyone else retires, you get up and throw yourself at His feet. Don't sleep until you have communed with Him. Pray to Him in the language of your heart. My Lord, you come first. I have made up my mind that in the temple of night I shall give myself to loving you. You are my everything. You are my sleep. You are my life. You are my death, if necessary. I want you alone. You are sufficient. You are sufficient. I offer all my power, all my inner thought, all my love to feel you, to be with you, to love you. Lord, don't make me a spiritual clown. Much of the time now, I remain secluded from people. I don't mix with those who just waste my time. I found it was the only way I could be with God. As soon as you are too much with people on the social plane, you are not with God anymore. I used to accept all kinds of invitations, but I gave that up. The kings of Europe used to keep a clown in the court to amuse them. Lord, I prayed, don't make me a spiritual clown in this cause of self-realization. I would rather eat dirt than have to bow to some person who would give me money for your work and tell me that I would have to do this or that in return. I would prefer to be with the yogis in the jungle, who have renounced everything, and who quietly bless the world with their God communion. Unlike the minister, who bows to the rich in order to make his church prosperous, these saints are real kings, great spiritual men, rulers of themselves. You see their joy, such contentment, peace, and bliss. That comes not from material gain, but by using the willpower to develop cosmic consciousness. That consciousness, that is one with God. Be inwardly free like those yogis. Be with God, so that you can laugh at life when it tries to strike you down. My life is finished. I have accomplished what I wanted to do. But one thing is never finished: my love for the Lord. It will be an eternal enjoyment within the sanctum of my soul. I couldn't work for myself, but I love to do for God and to help others. It is a lot of fun making success for God. Just think how a little thought in your brain, when put to work, can do something wonderful to make others happy and to leave footprints in the sands of time. Meditate and draw others to this path of self-realization. That is the highest service you can perform. The joy of pleasing God. These are my happiest days. I am happy for two reasons. I have been able to please God, and I have been able to fulfill the pledge that I gave to my guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, to build this work of Yogoda Satsanga self-realization, to spread the message of Kriya Yoga. The forces of evil have always battled me, but God has destroyed them all. On and on this work is marching. Every day I say, Lord, my dreams are all finished. The only thing I know now is my love for you. Such is the joy of God. There is nothing else to live for. In India, hundreds of young men are crazy for God, as hundreds here are crazy for money and power. It is better to play at hide and seek with God than to play with the will-o-wisp of materialism that leads to death. Death means disillusionment. It is the point when you accept defeat and give up. You have to come out of this ignorance of your divine potential. The Lord says, "Come now. Resurrect yourself from the tomb of ignorance." Finally, when you refuse to be laid beneath the slabs of your weaknesses, you become free. All who have heard this message, make the effort to find God now. meditate every day, and prune out all the weeds of weaknesses, that the garden of your life may be beautiful. The world wants to make a slave of you. You must snatch time away from the world to be alone with God. Suppose you are resting with eyes closed. Someone comes and places flowers before you, but you are too sleepy to open your eyes. When you do, those flowers are gone. So it is with the people who seek God half-heartedly. He comes to them, but their eyes are closed in dreams of this world, and when they open them again, he is gone. Seek him sincerely day and night, in meditation and in all your activities. When the dreams of your desires die away, you will find him everywhere. Pray with me. Heavenly Father, bless me that I develop all the seeds of spiritual power and success that are within me, and that I use them to please Thee, whom I love more than all Thy gifts. Be Thou mine evermore. Excerpts from the book The Divine Romance by Paramahansa Yogananda.